This episode is brought to you by FX's Feud, Capote versus the Swans. Inspired by actual events, the series tells the story of Truman Capote and the women he betrayed. The original housewives. They were society's most elite women. Rich, glamorous socialites who defined a bygone era of high society New York. From creator Ryan Murphy, this drama series features an all-star cast, including Naomi Watts, Demi Moore, and Diane Lane. FX's Feud premieres January 31st on FX Stream on Hulu.
Don't throw it out. Restore it. I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks, episode 425, our interview with Amy Howard. Amy started out as an interior designer and then decided she was going to move to Italy to apprentice with some expert furniture artisans and learn all these wonderful finishes there. And then when she came back to the U.S., she opened up her own business, the Amy Howard Collection, with her wonderful husband, Gene. It was amazing furniture, and then people were wanting to copy these finishes for themselves on their own furniture, and that's when Amy and Gene created their custom line of high-performance DIY products. She's also the author of a couple books, A Maker's Guide and Rescue, Restore, Redecorate, Amy's Howard's Guide to Refinishing Furniture and Accessories. And she has a full line of paints, waxes, finishes, stencils. I could go on, but they're amazing products. Welcome to Decorating Tips and Tricks, Amy.
Happy to be here.
Well, we're so glad you're here, and I know a lot of our listeners love working with vintage furniture, but as you know, a lot of times they don't have the best stain on them or so forth, so there's just a lot of beautiful pieces that are just begging for a refinishing job for someone to do. And so I was thinking right now, people are stuck at home. This is still the time of the pandemic, and things have not fully opened up. So I thought, what a great time for someone to work on a project at home. What would be a great project for someone to be working on right now?
You know, Anita, these are questions that we have been asked over and over and over again the last actually months now. And there are two areas that we have noticed that people want to redo, and it's their kitchen and their bathrooms. And I tell people a lot of times, while that can be one of the most satisfying areas to do, that it's always good to start with something smaller. So a lot of people are like, I am insistent, I want to do my kitchen. And my recommendation would be, before you do that, always start with a door or a drawer. You can go to Habitat for Humanity's Restore, and they sell those doors alone. And I tell people, go through the process of cleaning it and painting it, and then putting a finishing wax on it or a sealer if you want to. So I think a lot of times the intrepidation that we have, especially if you've never redone a piece of furniture, is going to start with the size as well as a perceived value. If it's something that you bought at a garage sale for $5, there is not as much fear. If it was your grandmother's china cabinet, then you have a tendency to be nervous. So start with something that doesn't have great family sentimental value and that is small enough in scale to be able to feel that you command it.
Start with a practice piece.
Yes. Practice piece or a practice door or, something like that. So that way you can get your skill level and feel confident as far as how to hold the brush, how much paint to apply, that type thing.
I think that's such excellent advice. And you're right. If you don't really have your technique down, you certainly don't want to be starting with a big project. So that makes complete sense to me, especially if you're more of a beginner. You really do want to test out that technique. And do you have a suggestion on which paint, what type of finish?
The very first place you need to start is making sure that that piece is cleaned properly. Now, a lot of these pieces that we're rescuing and restoring have waxes on them, especially if the piece was in existence in the 70s or 80s. I assure you it probably had liquid gold used on it. And those products create what we call surfactants. Those surfactants have a residue on them that makes it to where if it's not cleaned properly, that it will make it to where the paint will not adhere or bond as good as you want it to be. So we have developed a product that's called Clean Slate. It is a furniture refinisher's grade cleaner that removes wax. A lot of people don't realize paint thinner will not take wax off of a piece of furniture. You have to have this, and it will take the wax off. It's great to clean your brushes from wax. It's also, I joke about it because I put my makeup on in the car on the passenger side, and I get makeup on there. And Jean uses this Clean Slate, and it will remove lipstick, base makeup.
Well, there you go. There's an extra use for it.
So you want to clean that piece very well first. Using vinegar and water, those are great, but those will not remove wax. Neither will paint thinner. So use the Clean Slate first. If you're brand new to this, if this is going to be your very first piece, I think it would be great if you went to our Facebook group, Amy Howard at Home, before and after. There are tons of folks on there that share their befores and afters, what they did. They share what they used, what color they used. That will bring you into our community. You'll be excited to see you can do this. So one, I think the community aspect is important, but we have color cards that are hand painted because we have 100 colors in our one-step paint. The one-step paint is the beginner because it requires no stripping, no sanding, and no priming. You simply clean it. You want to be able to get a good synthetic brush. We have a brush called the wedge brush. You don't want to use a natural bristle brush like a chip brush because it'll cause you to have more lines. Our brand new formula of the one-step paint, I am so, so proud of. It's only available on our website right now soon, and it is participating True Value stores. And it will be going into participating Ace Hardware stores within the next 3 or 4 weeks. They have the original formula, but this new formula is self-leveling. I added essential oils to it because I like to be able to have a good experience that's enjoyable. It's water-based, so it's cleanable with just soap and water.
You've added essential oils, Amy, to the paint?
I have.
Wow.
I have.
Wow.
I mean,
I've been so impressed.
It was important to me that it had no VOCs, that it could be safe to be able to be used on children's furniture in nurseries or anything because I'm a cancer survivor. Toxins, everything, it's very important to me to be able to work as clean as possible and to be able to go in and brush 2 thin coats on. Here's the other mistake a lot of people make. They try to, especially with the one-step paint, they're thinking it's one coat. It's one step. But it's better if you do 2 thin coats of paint. If you see some of that wood underneath, maybe you're painting something that's already painted. Maybe you're painting melamine cabinets. Maybe you're painting glass or plastic or resin, whatever that is. The one-step paint is great for that. You can go over it. So let's say you have a mirror that was your mother's and you're repurposing it in your house. And it's gold leaf. If you clean it, you can use the one-step paint directly on top of gold leaf, and it will bind and be beautiful. But it's best just to remember in using that synthetic brush to put on 2 thin coats, and you're going to love it.
So when they finish doing the 2 coats of paint, the one-step paint, then should they do anything else to the piece?
It's going to depend on the final look you want because depending on the style, maybe you've got a more of a Florentine or a Baroque mirror, or maybe you have something that's more mid-century modern. You're doing it in a bright color, or maybe you have a nightstand with a cabriole leg, and you want it to look a little bit more provincial or country. So if you want it to look antiqued, then you're going to go into doing a wax application. I usually tell people you can do a light wax, then a dark wax, and then you can add some dust of ages. that's going to give you more of an antique look. It's very, very important to use a light wax first. You'll notice with our light wax, it has it's a combination of carnauba and beeswax. That beeswax gives it kind of an ambery color. It doesn't change it a whole lot, but it is a little warmer. So you want to apply that light antique wax first.
The Dust of Ages and your waxes, this is not the look from a few years ago where people did the chalk paint and they over distressed and it looked very fake.
Right.
That's not what your paints do. I mean, it really does. And that's why I love your products, because it really is one of the most authentic looking. It really does give a piece an antique look. And for someone used to looking at antique furniture, I mean, this really is good. And so check out do you want to tell them about the Dust of Ages?
So after you do the light wax, that's always done before you do the dark wax. If you want it, and the light wax is done 100% over your piece. Don't overdo it. And when you're applying light wax, I tell people that is when you use a chip brush or a wax brush. Mm-hmm. After the light wax has come to tack, usually after about 15 or 20 minutes, then you can apply the dark wax. The whole purpose with the dark wax is to be able to add some age, some definition, some color. So it's only going to be used about 15%. So you'll load it up, and you can watch this on my YouTube videos over and over and over again, as far as loading up that brush with the dark wax, offloading it onto some cardboard. You never want to go directly from the container of the wax onto your piece. Offload it. That way it will evenly distribute the wax onto your brush, and then you don't have too much on it. So it's better to ease into this. So just start going around the edges, feather your way in, because your dark wax, you always have to use a light wax first, and then it's only to accentuate. So then after the dark wax has about come to tack, and that's TACK, that tack allows you to be able to have it to where it will grip. That Dust of Ages will grip. And it's like, people are like, what is Dust of Ages? It's just it's what the name says. It's to simulate dust that would have transpired over hundreds of years. And so, Anita, you know this story when I share with people, when you go into a fine museum and you see portraits and in the portrait gallery where you've got frames, if you look down in the crevices, it's this grayish composition that looks like dust. And that's why we say it's called Dust of the Ages. So when you put that down in the crevices and then you buff it, it really can, before your eyes, change the patina, the look, the feel, the brilliance, the sheen, and it will embed down into your light wax and it will transform it. So, but you don't have to use the dark wax and the dust. If you want to just have a clean surface, the great thing about the one-step paint, you don't even have to seal it if you don't want to. You can keep that dead flat matte finish.
So they don't really have to go for an antique finish at all if they don't want
Absolutely not. And here's another option. If they wanted, and I noticed on Facebook the other day, somebody used a really beautiful coral color in the one step, and they came back with the cerusing wax. Cerusing wax is a white wax. Mm-hmm. It lends itself, to be honest with you, it was developed, the concept of cerusing furniture, CERUSING, was in the 16th century. And it came from the fact that at that period of time, it was very vogue to be overweight and to be very, very white. So they were taking lime and the chemicals actually had mercury in it. And they would put this mercury lather all over their face, their skin, their décolleté. Mm-hmm. And they found that their eyebrows were falling out, their hair was falling out because they're putting mercury on. And so they took that way of doing that and then transitioned it over into furniture to be able to make the furniture look bleached and white or cerused. So we take, without mercury.
Yes, thank you.
We're using calcium carbonate, which is chalk. And we blend it with the wax in such a way that you get this beautiful patina over a color that's white. and then you allow it to come to tack and you buff it. But a lot of people don't realize you can take our other wax, Mind Your Own Beeswax, squeeze a little bit out, and take any color of the one step and mix it with the wax, so you can have a colored wax over any piece. I love painting pieces in Bauhaus Buff, which is a gorgeous cream color, and then taking my Mind Your Own Beeswax and mixing it with a French blue one step. Mm-hmm. And I usually will do 2 to 3 parts wax with 1 part paint. So that way you're just mixing a tablespoon, and then that way go over the whole piece, and it's just yummy.
Now, when you do that with the wax mixed with the paint, does that need to be on a piece that's unfinished, or can you put that on anything?
You can put it on top of something that you just painted with the one step.
Oh, wow. That sounds wonderful. Oh, that just sounds gorgeous. And the cerusing, I think, is such a beautiful look.
It is. It really is.
Look. And I also wanted to just kind of go back to what you were saying about don't put the dark wax on first, because I've done that. And that, I have to agree with you, is really a horrible mistake, because then it goes on too heavy and you can't get it off.
Mm-mm. And here's the good thing, Anita. You can take the clean slate. If you put too much dark wax on, just take the clean slate and wipe off, and it will take it off. That way you can start over. That's why it's called clean slate.
And, some of your other products that I don't know people are that familiar with that I adore are your gold leafing and the silver. Do you still carry those?
We do. We have our size. We have gold leaf, copper leaf, silver leaf. The process that I'm wanting to take people on a journey. I want to bring them in as a beginner, and I want to take them up the ladder as far as when they're exposed and they're educated, and to take the time. And that's why I do that so much with Finish Fridays on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. I want to educate people why, and then take their level of connoisseurship up to where it's like they won't be as nervous. It's like, I'm going to add some gold leaf striping to this. And then after they've been comfortable with, the one step, or maybe gilding, or maybe making custom waxes, maybe they want to graduate then and go into our Toscana milk paint finishes. Because truly, and I know you love milk paint as well.
I do.
I am obsessed with creating milk paint finishes, different colors, and using them on top of the one-step paint.
Well, and I think it's such a subtle paint. It really looks so, I don't know what the word is, but I mean, it definitely looks, you can really have a very subtle, elegant, antique look with the milk paints, especially with all these finishes. It really is, it's really a high-end look. I want people to be sure, if they're not familiar with your paints, to go look at them, because this is not the look that like I said, the shabby,
average person.
Yeah, it's not the look that was popular about 5 years ago that everyone's sick of, where everybody put the paint on and sanded it down. That's not what we're talking about.
No. And there is a refinement to it. I actually have a course. It's called the Old World Finishing Course that are people that have been painting for a while. They want to be able to really learn. They want to be able to know the ins and outs and be able to look at building a furniture painting business. And so I am more about teaching them finishes through this Old World Finishing course, and then I mentor them. But you can go to the website with Amy Howard Home, and it has a portal on there that you can go to, and it will share that information with you.
Yes, and you really do a great job of teaching people. I've been to one of your classes, and it was amazing. And if you ever get a chance to go learn from Amy yourself, it's an amazing experience. And you taught us so many different finishes. And I remember even putting the wax on the fabric, I guess it was colored wax.
We did. We created what we actually did, and a lot of people don't realize you can paint fabric with a one-step paint. It's important that you thin it about 15%, but we used a stencil, and we thinned the paint, and we put it on top of the stencil on the fabric to be able to create a pattern. And then you can come back, and how we did with that pillow, we took the wax and we blended it with gold mica powders. And, mica is a whole new world in itself too. I mean, being able to kind of manipulate and play and take those gold flecks that can make anything metallic and mix that with wax or glazing liquid or whatever. But, as a rule, if you use wax on fabric, it's not going to be washed again. It will make it resilient. So you could pour a glass of red wine on it and it's going to just fall off. And it's very easy to keep clean, whether it's a pillow or a seat of a chair or an outdoor piece of furniture.
And if you like Fortuny fabric, I mean, this is that's what the fabric looked like when we were done.
It did. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
You need to come back. We need to have you come back.
Well, and Amy, your house was so amazing, but you've moved since
I've moved.
I've seen your house.
I moved. We, that's the thing with Jean and I. I love decorating. That's why I think your podcast is so fabulous, and the fact that all the listeners here, we love projects and redecorating projects, and we are in a beautiful home that was the first part of it. The main house was built in the 30s, and it's this rambling house over 2+ acres, the grounds and everything. And so I just go in these little decorating modes and redo the rooms. So I'm just like your listeners.
So do you reuse the same furniture, or do you kind of start over each time you move? Because like you said, you seem to move a lot. You always
have a
project.
Well, what happens a lot of times, the houses, when we sell them, people want the furniture in them. There are pieces that I will just say, this is not for sale, because maybe they're pieces from the Amy Howard collection, or it's an antique piece, that we have we've had for a very long time. The funny thing is, we're the oldest, of course, we've ever been. This is the largest house we've ever lived in. And so we had to buy a lot of furniture to fit in it. And we rescued a lot of furniture and painted it, restored it. So I was using a combination of the one-step paint, our lacquer paints, our milk paints, to redo all this furniture. It was a blast. I mean, it was right. And now we're getting ready to redo some of the bedrooms upstairs. So it's like I have a reason to go to the estate sales.
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I had forgotten about your lacquer paint as well, because that's a completely different look.
Totally. I mean, and that's what I try to tell people when you're trying to make a decision on what finish you like. The more you understand the inner workings of finishes, and I really invite people to go to my YouTube and just watch them. And learn the difference between liming and cerusing, and they'll go, that's the finish I want, that they'll know. And then you figure out a way to do it. But if you have a piece that's more simple lines, then maybe that's an opportunity for that piece to be lacquer. Our lacquer is not paint. It's not just a aerosol spray can of paint. It's actually a nitrocellulose lacquer. So as furniture manufacturers, we had big rigs, and we would spray lacquer cabinets and chairs and things that we made. The nitrocellulose lacquer, it's a 3-part process. There's a primer, then your color, and then your top coat. So it's kind of like painting your nails. You want to use a good base coat first. That primes it, gets the ridges out, that type thing, and evens it up. And then, acts as a sanding sealer. Then you add your color. And the cool thing is, it's totally different than with the one-step paint. If you're going to lacquer something, you're going to have to sand in between coats because it's a high sheen. So in between the coats, you've got 400 grit sandpaper. You're lightly sanding it to get it smooth, and you continue to apply long, clean strokes, spraying that lacquer. And I usually tell people apply 5 or 6 coats, and then put your top coat on top of it, and it will be a gorgeous, high sheen finish that has a lot of depth to it.
What about, that sounds amazing. So what about somebody who wants to paint their wood floors? Because I know a lot of people are thinking about that. Do you have a recommendation for that?
I feel like I've gone in a lot of different directions, but I have to tell you, most floors are made out of oak because they're hardwood. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you're going to have some that are pine. It's a totally different look. But oak has a lot of tannins in it. Tannins are oils that are in the wood. And we have a product called Better with Age. And it is not a stain, it is a reactive product. So when you have raw wood floors that are oak, you can put the Better with Age on it, and it turns them to this beautiful gray. It is fabulous. So you can come back, you can do the ceruzzi wax on top of it, you can finish it with a sealer. And I will tell you this, we are getting ready to introduce, the end of this month, a brand new floor paint. So we have a floor paint that has the right sheen to it, that you do not have to sand it, strip it, or prime it, that you can paint over any existing floor to be able to create a pattern, and it's going to come in 100 colors.
Wow. That's amazing.
You heard it here first.
Wow, that's exciting.
Uh-huh.
And wow, okay. And that paint, can you use it on pine or oak?
You can use it on anything. So if your floor is concrete, wood, pine, anything, any linoleum, you'll be able to use it on any surface for your floor.
What kind of prep would that need if it's, say, like an oak floor?
If it's oak, you want to make sure that you get any residue, like the wax, off of it. So you'd want to clean it with clean slate.
Okay. So what if it's got like a polyurethane coat on it? Does that need to come off?
No.
Doesn't matter?
You just clean it, and then you can roll it on.
Because I have some pine floors at our farm that have lots of collie love scratches all over them.
Yeah.
And not looking good. So I'm trying to think what I can do to fix it. So maybe that would be the solution.
Totally is a solution. And it has been it's been something I've wanted to do in my entry hall for some time. And there's a lot of polyurethane, on top of my stained floors. Mm-hmm. And I've wanted a pattern in there, a black and white striped pattern. And I told Gina, I was like, there is no floor paint. I don't want to work with an oil-based paint. I want a water-based paint.
Right.
And it doesn't exist without having to prime and go through that. So we've been working on this for over a year. And I'm really excited about it. It allows you to be able to use it on any surface. You can even use it outdoors. So,
and when will it be available?
The last week of this month.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is.
Yay. Wonderful. Well, that's exciting. And let's see. So how would someone decide whether they want to do maybe the milk paint or your one-step paint?
The one-step paint is going to give you an opaque, smooth surface. It's going to cover it 100%. It's going to give you a glorious color. The milk paint, it allows you to be able to create more of an old world finish. If you want to antique it, pull it off. Okay. Milk paint is like painting with almost like a water type consistency. It's 1 part water, 1 part powder. And a lot of people make the mistake of trying to mix it too thick and then they can't antique it. But if you don't want to antique the milk paint, you don't have to. But you always, always, always have to seal it. You always have to seal the milk paint because it can be reactivated and it will release with any type of water type product. So because it's casein based. So, again, I'll just refer people to my YouTube channel because the one-step paint allows you to go over pretty much any surface, whether it's tile or resin or glass or wood or melamine, anything. You just clean it and it will bond. The milk paint, on the other hand, it doesn't have the bonding agents to it. It's like shopping in the produce aisle. It's like a food grade product. So you will have to put the one-step paint on first, and then you can put the milk paint if you're putting it on an existing finish. If you're working with raw wood, by all means, you can put the milk paint on first. Or you can add our milk paint binder, and then that way you can paint an existing finish. So it's a whole new world. I mean, we could get together, be here in my studio on a Saturday and have the best time. And then that way I can go in and really explain the differences to you. That's why I just refer people. Go to the YouTube channel, binge on it a little while, and you'll start to understand the difference.
The videos are amazing, so you'll be able to see a lot of these techniques. And that's very helpful to have that because, it's one thing to read it, but it's another to see you doing this in person or in the video. Excited about some of these new products. I can't wait to check them out in person. Is there anything else that we missed that you'd like to say?
don't allow fear to keep you from being creative.
Mm-hmm.
Get something to test on. Find something, be a curbside shopper, find something on the side of the road, go to a restore, go to an estate sale, or maybe a garage sale. And once you do that first piece, you're hooked. Get on the Amy Howard at Home before and after group on Facebook and join that community and be a part of other people, because I really encourage you. We talk about going green. We need to quit throwing away furniture in all these landfills. We are still throwing away 30 million tons of furniture in the U.S. every year. And we need to rescue, restore, and redecorate them and give them new life.
I think you've got such an excellent point. And really, some of this vintage furniture is some of the best made furniture around. Antique
hands
furniture.
down. Absolutely. Hands down.
Yeah, so I am 100% in agreement with you. We really need to be looking at these pieces because a lot of these can be rescued and redone beautifully. And, I have some pieces that I know people were just walking past at the thrift store and I painted them and suddenly they just look fantastic. Mm-hmm. And so it really does make a big difference. So I think that's excellent advice, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, Amy. I really appreciate it. Well, that was so wonderful to talk to Amy. Such a lovely person, and, we love her products. So it was really wonderful to introduce our listeners to Amy.
Yes. And I was recalling when you and I met her together. I know you'd met her before, but we got to chat with her a bit at one of the Haven conferences, and that was super fun. So she is really a delightful woman in person and on the podcast. And we do love her products, wonderful lines of products. So I hope everyone explores that. Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. So let's talk about our hot topic, which I think is kind of sad.
Well, I know we've had so many of these hot topics where it's about a store going out of business, and sadly, that is what today's hot topic is. And the store this week is Wisteria, which is, has been one of my favorite stores to buy from. Just a little background on them. They were founded in 2001 by a Dallas couple, Shannon and Andrew Newsom, and they have an interesting background. Andrew's mother is Lisa Newsom, the founding editor-in-chief of Veranda Magazine, which we love.
Yeah, don't let Veranda leave, too. Come on, Lisa.
I know.
Hang on.
And Shannon is the daughter of the popular Houston designer and antique dealer Jane Moore. So, they are very well steeped in the home decor, business and know a lot about it. And so, anyway, and they've always had such a good eye for finding products for their store. They've had a lot of Gustavian things, which I really love, and just kind of a little bit of a twist. And it's also, they've kind of had a bohemian, maybe kind of world look mixed in with the French,
like a global
and
look.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
I think they were doing that before. A lot of other people were doing that.
I agree. And I think it kind of went a little more upscale over time. But it's, I was always able to find things pretty reasonably priced. And then they opened a store in Houston. Golly, when was that? Last fall, I want to say. And so now it's completely shutting down all their stores and the online business. And there's a big sale now, but I think things are going pretty fast. But if you're wanting, by the time this airs, they may just be down to pillows. I don't know, but yeah, it's just very sad. And just to see all these, the thing about it too is this was a small business, meaning, it was a couple, they started it from scratch, and, it wasn't some big conglomerate. And so it's just really sad to see some of these smaller companies, especially when they had such a great product and were so successful, to see them go out of business.
Yeah, I remember getting their catalogs probably 12 some odd years ago, something like that, maybe a little bit more. And they always had a nice little editorial, maybe because they were familiar with how a magazine was set up. So you read about them and where they visited, and maybe the people from whatever land they were getting the weaving done or the carving or something like that. They would have a story about them, and then they talk about their little kids, and it was almost like you kind of went along with them as their family grew and as their business grew. So that is a sad one to lose. I hope they go on to something new, which I'm sure they will. That will be fabulous, and that we can all take part in down the line. So I wish them the best of luck.
Yeah, and like I said, 19 years. So,
wow, that is, I wouldn't have guessed that. That's a long time. But I know, we're going to lose things, but we're probably going to gain other things that we didn't even really know we needed. So we'll see.
Okay, I'm trying not to be sad.
Don't be sad. I'm trying to cheer you up.
Okay.
I'm going to cheer you up with this.
Cheer me up. Okay, cheer me up.
I know you love those crunchy doodle things that I scared you. Intimating that perhaps they were not gluten-free from Trader Joe's.
The Trader Joe's baked cheese crunchies is what you're referring to.
That is what I'm referring to, yes. I found something that is so delicious. Slightly different. A little bit different cheesy flavor and puffier. But it is from a company called Lesser Evil. And they're paleo puffs. No cheesiness. And they have maybe...
So there's no actual cheese in them?
There's no actual cheese because they're paleo. I'm paleo now. So kind of reminiscent of a pirate booty, if you've ever had a pirate booty.
Oh, yes. I think we have some pirate booty right now in the cabinet.
Okay, so not... Pirate booty kind of is... it kind of disintegrates really fast in your mouth. This paleo puff is a little crunchier.
Yes.
Delicious. I mean... In a blind taste test, you would say there was definitely cheese in there. If you didn't read that bag, you would definitely claim there was cheese.
Okay.
So yummy. Love them. So I'm exploring all these
what are they
paleo
called?
options. And, when we first started doing it, it was like, okay, great. Brussels sprouts. Okay, great. Sweet potatoes. Oh, great. Some grilled chicken. And then after all, you're like, I want a snack. I need a snack.
I know.
So actually our other sponsor, Thrive Market, has, and we'll talk about them another day, but they have a lot of paleo stuff where you can shop just paleo. And so I discovered them on there. And I'm addicted.
And what are they called? What are they called again?
It's really easy to remember. Paleo Puffs.
Paleo Puffs. Okay. And is that the only place to get them?
No,
or
I think you can probably get them at other, maybe, I don't know. I never saw them in Whole Foods, but then again,
sounds like a Whole
I
Foods
wasn't
item.
paleo. And so I wasn't looking. I would have gone right for
Maybe
the Pyro Booty.
Maybe Sprouts, someplace like that has them.
So I highly recommend them, because I did get a few paleo snacks that I was like, wah, wah. But these, even if I wasn't trying out this paleo diet, I would eat these.
Oh, well, good. Well, I'll tell you, there is something cheery that I am happy about that's my crush. And I talked about my daughter's room at the group home that I've been fixing up. And, because of the virus, I'm not actually allowed to go in the house. So I've had some things shipped there, or I brought things and just dropped them off the door. And then I'll ask the house manager, would you take a picture of this? Or would you take a picture of this for me, please? Because I'm not allowed in. And it's, nobody is, unless, you work there. And so it looks so cute in the room, this thing I'm getting ready to tell you about. It is a pink nightstand.
So cute.
Super cute. It's actually, I think, meant to be a child's dresser, but it's just kind of a small size. So we're actually using it as a nightstand. But it's from IKEA.
Golly. We can't wait to bust through those big blue doors again.
Well, Evie and I did. Actually, we went and got this a couple of weeks ago.
Did?
We were driving by to do something else, and they hadn't even announced they were open yet, and I saw cars in the parking lot, and I said, pull over! We've got to go in there.
Yes. I mean, pandemic, no pandemic. If you need a pink nightstand, you need a pink nightstand.
Well, I know, and it doesn't look like wood. It's kind of very contemporary looking, and but it's just fun looking. I just thought it looked very fun for her room and colorful, and that's what I was kind of going for. So and it's just kind of if I were doing a very kind of sophisticated room, I wouldn't do it, but just kind of for a fun, cozy room, I think it's perfect.
Oh, yeah. So that sounds perfect for Lisa's room, or maybe any kid's room, and probably any age, maybe not boys unless they're pink lovers, but dorm rooms, maybe, things like that.
Well, and it was $139, so there you have it.
Nice deal. Okay, well, we'll link that up.
But she has pink bedding. And pink, and I'll tell you about some of the other stuff in the room too. But it just goes so well. It really looks really cute.
Oh, I bet. And if it was meant to be a dresser, is it maybe a little bit bigger on the top than a nightstand would be?
Well, right. It's kind of a large nightstand, but so I don't know. Maybe it's about 2 feet. 2 feet wide, which is, a nice size for a nightstand.
Oh.
It might be even a little bit more than that.
Are you going to do a blog post on, well, I guess you're using someone else's photos, so maybe not. Right?
Well, as soon as I can get in there and take some pictures, I will. Well, I don't have the things on the wall yet because I can't let them hang the stuff, or it's just kind of hung in a weird, like the maintenance guy decides where everything goes if I don't go do it myself, and his idea of what looks right and mine are totally different.
Yeah, well, maybe he doesn't listen to the podcast yet, because we do have some episodes on that.
I'm thinking he does not.
You'd be like, listen, I'm going to give you some listening material and maybe even some blog posts to read, and then contact me and we'll talk about where you're going to hang the art.
Yeah, so and I even found this cute little pink guitar for her to play, so I sent that too. So, yeah, I'm sure they're really thanking me for that.
But she likes doing that, right?
Oh, she loves it.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. Okay, so our listener question today is something that maybe a lot of people consider. Lindsay R. Lindsay is doing her living room, and she's having drapes made. She did not specify the fabric, but she's asking whether or not she should have them lined. She doesn't need the privacy. She may close them sometimes, but not, maybe not on a regular basis. But she's saying, for the look, is it better to have them lined? And, how do we feel about all of that?
Well, I would say the answer depends, because if this is a room that faces the front and all the other windows have white in them, and this curtain's going to be seen, then I think you're going to want a white liner or something to match the other windows. But again, I don't know what color the curtains are. I don't know if there's some shade that's going to be in front of the window and the curtains are kind of behind that where you won't see the liner from the outside. So all of those really kind of factor in my book. But I think the bottom line is you don't really need a liner. And a lot of the curtains that you buy now, the linen ones, don't have liners. So I think it really is something that just kind of depends on how you want it to look from the outside. I think that has a lot to do with it. And like what she alluded to, how much privacy you need. Are you going to want to block out the light? Do you need light blocking? What else is on the window? Is that going to block the light enough? I mean, really, I think all these questions factor in, but assuming all of those things are not an issue, I would say it's not a problem to not have a liner. And what did you say?
I agree with you. And I think you raised all the pertinent points. And a lot of people may not consider outside until it's too late, and maybe you went with some really vibrant pattern and colorful pattern, and one side is your living room and that's where they are, and the other side is your dining room or an office, and there's something different that doesn't look so great from the outside. So yeah, even if you don't think you need to line, and I know it costs more, particularly Lindsay's having these made, it's going to cost more if she has a liner put in there, but that to me is really, really important. So excellent point, Anita. And as far as the inside, as we don't know exactly what the fabric is, if it is a linen, then, that's a different kind of look. You really don't necessarily want to line that, because it's kind of the whole idea of the linen is, you can, the sun comes through a little bit and it has this loose feel to it. So I wouldn't really stiffen the linen up necessarily with a liner.
But, there's something else, because I noticed that my sweet doggy Molly kind of was rubbing up against my dining room curtains, and I thought, well, I'm going to get those taken down and get them cleaned at the dry cleaners. And they said that they don't do curtains because the sun comes in and destroys the fabric, and when they dry clean them, they just fall apart. So that's something to be thinking about, is will the sun coming through destroy the fabric that she's using? So she may need a liner to protect the fabric that's showing from the room side. And then what you were saying about, or what we were saying about what's being seen from the street, one of my bally blinds, actually the cord, I have the cordless kind, and the cord, which I know I'm saying they're cordless, but there is a cord, it just doesn't hang down. But it broke on one of them, and I'm having to get it replaced. And actually they said, no, they can't even fix it. It has to be replaced. I'm like, okay. And then when I was talking about ordering it, a replacement, she said, we don't have that liner color anymore. Well, brace yourself, because I have 8 windows on the front of my house with that liner.
Whoa, dude. What are you going to do? How could they not have
I don't
liner?
know.
What, I mean,
well, they do liners, but that was kind of a tan liner, and they don't have that one anymore. Apparently, they just use a white and a cream. I think
so yours was a little
darker. It is. That's what she told me. Now I'm going to go down to the store, and I guess Lowe's or whatever, and look at them to see what they've got. But the problem is not just what you see from the front, but I actually have a lighter liner. I have the same shades in the front of my house as in the back, but on the back, I have a light liner. And inside the house, when it's sunny outside, those shades look lighter than the ones in the front. So if I have one window, and the windows are right next to each other, it's basically the same window. So, I mean, it's just 2 parts of one window. So it's going to be very obvious if those liners don't match. So I kind of have to replace both of them. But then that room is not going to match the rest of the front of the house either. So I don't know. It's kind of, I really don't have, I don't really have any options. I'm not going to replace all of them.
Well,
I can tell you that.
Let me just tell you, maybe I should get on the phone with a Bally for you, because all the nice things you always say about them, they should replace them all for you, because they decided to discontinue your liner. But we can talk about that off podcast. But pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Huge can of worms, right? Lindsay did not know she opened this huge can of worms. Okay. I love what you said, because that is so true. And I don't think people think about that. And it came up recently with a client of mine. She has these, she has a set of French doors and then a window like double sash window on either side of the bed. And she was like, I don't know, maybe we're going to do all the same fabric on Romans and then drapes, but maybe we'll just do privacy on one of them and just regular liner on the other. And I was we're using the Shade Store for them. And I was talking to them and she's like, we really can't do that because the fabric's going to look totally different on the inside. Because because exactly what you're saying, the amount of light that would penetrate through just a liner as compared to a blackout or a privacy liner is very different. So the inside, it will even look different. So I just wanted to pull that little nugget out that you mentioned in case people were still reeling from the fact that they don't have your liner anymore. And they didn't grok that, what you just said, because that is really important.
So I thought, okay, well, the dining room's got 2 windows on the side and 2 in the front, so I could take those 2 on the side. So then I'd match all in the front. But then when you look at my dining room, all the 4 windows in the dining room wouldn't match then.
Just never gonna end, is it?
See? There's no way to fix this.
No.
I know. I'm just trying not to. I'm just telling myself, you know what? I have bigger
I would
problems.
say, the good and the bad of it is there's more going on in the world right now.
I know. I'm just like, I just can't really spend a lot of
just, you like a lot
emotional
of
distress over
natural light.
this.
Just keep the blind open. It's fine.
I know. But anyway, that's what happens. And honestly, it didn't even occur to me. I know the fabrics go out of style, but it never occurred to me that the liner would go out.
Well, I think that's just silly. Or at least, okay, they don't have the exact, but they replace it with something that's, nobody would be able to discern the difference.
It's not, she said it's not even close. So I'll have to, that's why I need to go down to the store and see what the liner options are. Maybe there's something there that I'm missing.
Whoa.
So,
okay,
anyway.
well. Lindsay has given us all a lot to think about with that question. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks, Lindsay, for reminding me of the pain in my life. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
I want to remind you that we are available for design consults. We take on your design dilemmas, questions, renovations, any project you want to talk about, any room, any space. We are here for you. And we really do enjoy doing these. And I think we've helped people a lot. So if you want to sign up for a consult, head to the link in the show notes. It's decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. We hope to talk to you soon.